When it comes to the Nintendo Switch, people often recommend the same games over and over, so in this video, I want to show off some different titles that you might have not heard of. And so up first at number 1 is MADiSON. Created by a small development studio, this game took many by surprise when it released. MADiSON is a first-person horror game where you control a boy and his instant camera. The game is kind of like a mix between Fatal Frame and PT as you walk around a large but unsettling house. A lot of what goes on in the game is psychological and is tied into using the instant camera, which helps connect the world of the living with the dead. The camera is also needed for most of the puzzles, which make up a large portion of the game. Most of the puzzles are not too bad, but I did find myself running into a few that were a little random and cryptic at times. Still, the game as a whole is a lot of fun, and it does a good job at keeping you on the edge of your seat, so if you're looking for a horror game on the Switch, MADiSON is a good choice, and it's one that most people will probably like. And so in next at number 2 is Balatro. This is a roguelike deck builder that has you play a run, which is divided into 8 antes, with each ante containing 3 blinds. Essentially, every single blind is a level, and they get progressively harder with every third blind having a boss challenge within it. Now within each level, you get a certain amount of hands and discards, which you can use to make a set number of plays to earn enough chips for the quota. Now what makes Balatro stand out is its use of deck building and how you earn money at the end of each blind, which you spend on buying special cards and upgrades. One of the most important cards that you will be buying is the Jokers, which allow you to add multipliers and certain conditions. Your entire goal is to synergize your cards and get over the quota to eventually beat the game. It's a formula that might sound kind of boring, but once you get playing, it's pretty fun. So if you're looking for a quality deck builder on the Nintendo Switch, this is 100% a must play. And so next at number 3 we've got Infernax. Inspired by Castlevania 2 and Adventures of Link, this game started out as an online flash title that was eventually crowdfunded on Kickstarter. Infernax has you thrown into a dark fantasy world where the gameplay is centered around being a 2D Metroidvania. The goal of the game is to destroy 5 gems that are each placed into castles around the map. Throughout the world there are many different enemies, and on top of that there's also plenty of bosses, each offering a level of variety in terms of how they perform and the challenges they present. When it comes to the difficulty curve, Infernax is very well balanced, and it offers 2 levels of difficulty, with players having the choice between either classic mode or casual. Overall, the entire experience is a great throwback, and the game does a good job at building off the classic NES titles that came before it, so if you're in the market for a quality 2D game with some challenge, be sure to check out Infernax. And so coming in at number 4 is Sea of Stars. This game is a love letter to old school RPGs that you would mainly find on the original Super Nintendo. Sea of Stars takes elements from a lot of different role-playing games and it brings them together into one single package. The result of this is a game that is faithful to old RPG mechanics while still containing a lot of new and fresh ideas. When it comes to the music and graphics in Sea of Stars, both are top-notch, and you can just see how much effort and time went into every little detail. In terms of gameplay, the combat system gives you an entirely new way of fighting, as you have different abilities and characters to choose from with the option of swapping them out mid-battle. It's a system that works really well, and it allows for some pretty cool mechanics the further you get into the game. Overall, Sea of Stars is a fun RPG that succeeds in paying homage to older titles before it, so if you're looking for a fun role-playing game on the Nintendo Switch, Sea of Stars is one of the best you can find. And so at number 5 we have Gravity Circuit. Inspired by the Mega Man X series, Gravity Circuit is a 2D platformer that has some of the best pixel art to date. Its story has you playing as Kai, who is a guardian robot and is tasked with taking down the other 9 remaining guardians that ended up turning evil. To do this, the game spreads itself out into multiple missions, with each one following a Mega Man style format of having the level designed around a boss with a final fight at the end. Gameplay centers around combat, with using different moves and upgrades that vary from things like being able to double jump and grapple around. The controls complement the wide array of abilities, as the game has some of the best movement in all of platforming and everything feels very responsive. In terms of presentation, the pixel art is solid and the soundtrack is very well put together. All in all, this game somehow takes the Mega Man formula and it makes it even better, so if you're looking for a new title to pick up on the go, Gravity Circuit is one you have to try. And in next at number 6 we've got Inscription. This is another deck building game that is very different from Balatro in the sense that it's a roguelike tabletop. In this game, you don't know much about what's going on besides the fact that you have to play a competitive card game against the game master where one wrong move means you die. At the end of each map, there is either a mini boss or a mainline boss, which all have different mechanics that drastically change how the cards are played. Most of the game takes place on the table, as there is a bottom row where you can play your cards, with the main goal being to deal enough damage to tip the game master's scale. There are also consumable items which vary from things like pliers, which let you pull your own teeth out and put it on the enemy's scale, and potions that create cards in your hand. In general, there is a lot of detail when it comes to Inscription, and the game does a great job at keeping you engaged, so if you're looking for a more story-driven deck builder, it's a must play. And so the last game at number 7 is Anton Blast. Starting out as a Kickstarter project, Anton Blast is an action platformer that resembles Wario Land but with a lot more chaos. The story begins with Satan being jealous of Anton's skin color and deciding to steal all his booze in order to lure him in so he can absorb his skin color with a straw. It's definitely a strange premise, but it's pretty funny and it does get a lot crazier later on. In terms of gameplay, this is of course where Anton Blast shines, as its focus is on destruction, giving you control of either Anton or Annie, who are both capable of dashing and performing a bunch of different attacks. The game also features multiple layers within levels, allowing you to jump between them, which is not anything new, but it is very well implemented. Another thing that is worth mentioning in Anton Blast is the boss fights, also known as boss busters, who offer up a unique way of fighting and they put a nice spin on the gameplay. Overall, the game is not very long, but it does offer a lot of side content, so if you're a fan of the old Wario Land games, Anton Blast is a title you are going to really enjoy. And well, that wraps up the list. I thought it would be fun to make a YouTube video showing off some quality Switch games that I've been playing lately, even if it means making a video that's probably not gonna get that many views. Still, I'm currently on the lookout for some more Switch games to try out before the new Nintendo console drops in 2025, so if you have any recommendations for Switch titles, please drop them down in the comments below. With that said, I want to thank you for watching this far, and I also want to ask that you please subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you very soon. Take care.